On this episode of the History of the Chorus podcast with Curtis and Josh, we continue our look at the history of the band Every Time I Die. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings. And make sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review, and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. Without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta, army surrounded.
Welcome back to the History of the Chorus podcast, where each and every episode we take a look at the history of a band from the core genre. I'm Curtis.
And I'm Josh.
How's it going, Josh?
Oh, it's a going.
It's going. Oh, he almost forgot to unmute his mic there.
I was ready. Before I spoke, I was ready.
Saw that fear in your eyes. Yes. All righty, man. Good to hear you are doing okay. But today, Josh, I feel like we're going to be doing great after this because today we are continuing our look at the band known as Every Time I Die.
Get into the golden years of Every Time I Die.
The golden years. All right, so excuse me. Last time we talked, part one, we finished with the 2006 album, or was the 2005 album, Gutter Phenomenon.
Yeah.
So let's start with the 2006 lineup because there was a little bit of changes right before that. So at that time, 2006, we're looking at Keith Buckley on vocals, his brother Jordan Buckley on guitar, Andy the Butcher Williams on guitar, Michael Novak on drums, and the bass slot is vacant as a permanent spot. Now we have Keller Harbin formerly of the Chariot, acting as bass duties for touring purposes. Now he's not going to be on this next album, which is 2007's The Big Dirty from Ferret Records. The Big Dirty, Josh. What do you think?
I mean, this one, I think is my favorite album.
Really? Okay. Of all the Every Time I Die albums?
Yeah. And it's close between a few of them, but this is hitting this stride. Like there's an amazing album on either side of it, Gutter Phenomenon.
True. Yeah.
And then on the other side of this, New Junk Aesthetic. I don't know why I always want to call that album Roman Holiday, which is just like the title track, or the opening track.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just sandwiched in between two of my favorite albums, and this one I think is my favorite.
Do you think do you think this is their peak though?
I don't know if it's their peak. I mean, there's like a really good run in there in the middle, I mean, I've said before that I think beginning to end is a great discography,
Yeah.
But the ones that hit the most for me are that stretch between Gutter Phenomenon and up until New Junk. Well, I guess through X Lives. And then Parts Unknown is the one that like falls a little bit off for me. Like I still really like that album, but it's just
a little
not
different.
Yeah, it's a little different than the three before it.
Right. And we'll talk about that when we get to it too. But yeah, okay. Yeah, I feel like kind of like what you said, it's like we're hitting the golden years. Sorry, you had more to say there.
Well, and then it picks up for me again with like the last two,
Cool. Big Dirty, 2007.
The Big Dirty. I did not know that this album was named as a reference to Trailer Park Boys.
Yes, it is Trailer Park Boys, the movie.
Yeah.
Where the boys plan
which I've seen.
last job.
I don't remember that.
Right. They plan one last job and they call it The Big Dirty. Yeah, I think I've seen that movie. There's more than one movie, right?
Yeah.
I think I've seen that one, but I don't remember the Big Dirty. But anyway, 2007, The Big Dirty from Ferret Records. This will be the last album for the band on Ferret Records. Goodbye, Ferret Records. To be honest, I don't remember. I want to say because I know Ferret Records isn't a thing anymore. I wonder if it was collapsing about that time, maybe. But anyway, again, kind of like what I was saying just before this, when we were talking about the lineup, there's no official bassist on this album. Keller Harbin was a part of the band as a bassist, but he was only doing it for touring purposes, which I think you said it in the last episode at the very end there when we mentioned his name, that it would have been that would have been a great lineup to see of him, the Buckley brothers, Williams, and Novak on drums. That would have been a pretty sick lineup to see live, man.
Yeah. It would have been cool if they could have kept him just on bass, like from there on.
I'm
Like, that would have been
surprised they
sweet.
didn't. I mean, I don't really know what he had going on because that would be right after he left the Chariot. So I don't really know what he had going on. Obviously, he's in a band now, but I don't really know of any like bands that he was with between the Chariot and his new band now, Holy Gold. But yeah,
It's what?
Huh?
It's called what?
His new band,
Mm-hmm.
Holy Gold.
Holy Gold.
Yeah, I've told you
Oh,
about
okay.
it before. I think they only have like
I thought you said Holy Goal, and I thought you
No.
were saying like, I thought you were just missaying the Holy Guile, and I was like, holy shit, I didn't know Keller was in Holy Guile.
What? No, it's Holy Gold. I think it's like holy, and then there's like a plus sign gold. That's their name. It's him. Um, the two guitarists that were the original guitarists from Norma Jean, and then I think a bassist and a drummer. I don't even know who they are. But yeah, it's a pretty good band. I think they only have one EP out though, and maybe like a couple of singles because I don't think they've put an LP out yet. But it's
Okay.
pretty good. You should go check them out. I think I've sent them to you before, but it's been a while. But anyway, no basis on this album. Official basis, that is. So the bass guitar is going to be recorded by both Jordan Buckley and Andy Williams. Music on this album is described by the band as, quote, filled with riffs that only 4 months of a Buffalo, New York winter could spawn. This new record will undoubtedly satisfy longtime fans. The Big Dirty is a CD you would compile if asked to make a mix of the best Every Time I Die songs you haven't heard yet. If this ain't your favorite heavy release of the year, I'll eat my damn hat. End quote. What do you think about that, Josh? That's
I
a
did like
bold
that.
statement.
That's very early Keith Buckley
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't. There's like a quote from him though that says, like about Big Dirty. It says, "It's what will easily prove to be the best record Every Time I Die is crafted since Gutter Phenomenon." Like that was the last album. Is
Yeah,
that
but I
just
think
like
that's supposed to be be the joke of it.
just
Yeah.
being a
it's
dick?
kinda-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, it is Keith Buckley. So,
yeah.
but anyway, songs on this album include No Son of Mine, great intro,
Mm.
Pigs is Pigs, Werewolf, Rebel Without Applause, Rendezvous, In Rehab, which I did not realize this, and I keep forgetting about it until I keep looking at my notes, that In Rehab actually features Dallas Green of Alexis is on Fire / City and Color. I'm guessing he's doing vocals. I think there's a part where I was like, that doesn't sound like Keith Buckley. And then I remember, yeah, that's Dallas Green, you idiot.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said that was on Rendezvous?
No, in
Oh.
Rehab.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also Imitation is the Sincerest Form of Battery. And Joshua liked this one, Buffalo Gals. Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Very delayed. Why don't you tell them about that? What we're talking
Sorry, I
about.
was reading. About what?
About Taylor Swift. That why did I say that? Because we didn't talk
Um,
about it. We talked about that before the recording last time.
we talked about the picture.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
Is
about.
that the? Oh, okay.
You said because there's
Um,
some was it that picture and it's got like lyrics on the wall or on the doorway
yeah, and
from
it's
that song.
from Buffalo Gals, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a I guess when Taylor Swift, I don't remember what album it was, do you?
I don't remember now.
One of her albums that she released like a Polaroid picture, like went out with every album, and you would get like one of was it three or four
Something like
different
yeah.
yeah, one of three or four different pictures. And one of the pictures was of her in like a really crappy looking hotel room. And on the door is written some lyrics from Buffalo Gals. Do you remember what the line was?
I don't.
I'd have to look at the
Um
picture.
was it something about if you're leaving me or if I'm leaving you or something?
Oh,
It was like
if you're leaving, I'm coming with you. I promise you that. I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
Is that the
Yeah, that
one?
yeah, that's it. Yep, that's
Okay.
the one. Look up the picture though, just in case. Now, while he's doing that, I will let you know that this album lived up to the hype. It was met with very high praise. So I'm going to guess nobody ate their hat, but I could be wrong. Maybe there's somebody out there that was like, "Hey, this album really sucks." But anyway, yeah, that
I don't
the album
trust that
was.
person.
I don't trust that person. There's got to be somebody out there who's like, "This is like my least favorite Every Time I Die album." I mean, it happens, people are like that, but it's kind of like, well, okay, well, what is your favorite? Yeah. Anyway,
It says if you leave me, I'm coming with you. So it doesn't say the full thing, but it says if you
oh, it's
leave
just
me,
that.
I'm coming with you.
Okay. Interesting. All right, that is 2007's The Big Dirty from Ferret Records. Final thoughts on The Big Dirty, Josh?
I really like Big Dirty.
I did
Um,
not get that at all from you earlier, so that's
yeah,
surprising to hear.
it's all right.
It's okay.
No, it really comes out like I don't know. I don't know how to set it apart from um New Junk, you know? Like they're similar in a lot of ways, but this one feels a lot more raw and
Hmm.
like I don't know, maybe a little bit faster paced than
Yeah,
New
the new
Junk.
junk. Yeah,
But yeah, it just comes off Gutter Phenomenon and feel like Gutter Phenomenon almost feels a little bit more polished than this one.
yeah,
Um yeah, I don't know. It's definitely like it's a good ending album for Ferret, but also like I like where they're going because it's another one of my favorite labels from that time period is Epitaph, you know.
right. Yep. Yep. Do you have a riff on this album? You want to hum for us?
The da 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 da.
Beautiful, beautiful. Alrighty. Like I said, that's 2007's The Big Dirty from Ferret Records. Goodbye, Ferret Records. Hello, independent label. Yeah, we salute you. Hello, independent label, Epitaph Records. But before that, Josh Newton on bass is going to join the band in the vacated bassist spot. And hey, Josh, I remember seeing this before. I'm wondering if you knew this or not. The band actually performed the song Werewolf on Jimmy Kimmel Live Halloween 2007. Did you see that performance?
I want to say that I have watched that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just
No, they
really
have
kind
to
of
censor
weird.
the whole thing, right?
Yeah, you would think, man.
Or like the whole chorus.
You would think. I don't know. I'll have to go back and rewatch to see what they did. See if
I
they changed some
know.
words or something.
Do you know what soundtrack, like what movie soundtrack that song's on?
Werewolf?
Yeah.
Mm-mm, I didn't even
I
know it was
think
on the movie soundtrack.
I think it was a horror movie. I think it was supposed to be like Texas Chainsaw or maybe like Devil's Rejects or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Hmm.
But I definitely saw it, yeah, on a soundtrack.
Well, you might look that up. All right, that's like I said, they're going to sign with the independent label Epitaph Records. Great record label. Boys will get back into the studio, start writing some stuff, recording a new album. 2009. Here we go. New Junk Aesthetic from Epitaph Records. Josh, if your favorite album is The Big Dirty, New Junk Aesthetic is mine. This is my album, man. It's a good, really good album, man. First album with Josh Newton on bass, and it will be the last album with the founding member Michael Novak on drums. He would leave just a month shy of the album release. And fun fact for you, Josh, if you didn't know this already, the artwork, which is some pretty crazy artwork there, was actually done by guitarist Jordan Buckley. Songs on this album include the hard-hitting intro. I love this song, Roman Holiday. You also have the Marvelous Slut featuring Greg Puciato of Dillinger Escape Plan. Who Invited the Russian Soldiers, Wanderlust, For the Record, Turtles All the Way Down, Organ Grinder, After 1/4 of a Revolution, featuring Pete Wentz of Fall Out Boy, and finally, The Sweet Life, featuring Matt Cawthron of the Bronx. Yes.
I did not know that Pete Wentz was on this album.
Yes, it's okay. So let's talk about that for a second. Because
What track did you say that was?
After 1/4 of a Revolution, you will know he does vocals, and it's like screaming, and you can tell it's somebody else besides somebody in the band doing it.
Okay.
But it's really interesting to me because you think Pete Wentz, well, okay, that's kind of strange. But I will say, like, you look at all like their whole discography and like how many different guest vocalists, or I think there's a few guys that played like guitar on songs. They have such like a weird like range of like people. I mean, you got like the guy from Dillinger Escape Plan. You had
Brendan Urie.
You had Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco. You got Pete Wentz now. You had what was it on Gutter Phenomenon? Gerard Wade from My Chemical Romance. You're going to have Brian Fallon from the Gaslight Anthem on Parts Unknown. It's just really weird. And then you get to Radical, and you got Andy Hall of Manchester Orchestra, and you got Josh Coggin of the Chariot and 68, Norma Jean, whatever. And it's just like, to me, it's always kind of weird because they have such a weird range of guest vocal spots or guest spots in general. It's like, wow, okay, they know a lot of people apparently.
Well, they've toured with like every one of those bands,
This is true, yeah.
Like
this is true.
That's where those connections are made.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, pretty interesting. This album was met with high praise. Josh, what do you think about New Junk Aesthetic from Epitaph Records in 2009?
I really like New Junk. Yeah, I remember when this one came out, like I really liked, it's holding up. Like every album that comes out, you're just kind of like bracing yourself, feeling like this might be the one where things start to fall off a little bit, because it's just been nothing but good album after good album.
Right.
And it came out really good. I know Wanderlust is like one of the most popular tracks on the album that I really think drew a lot of people in on it.
Is there one or two songs that really pop out for you personally?
For me, yeah, I mean, Wanderlust, Turtles All the Way Down. Really like Turtles All the Way Down into Organ Grinder.
Yeah, that's a good transition.
Yeah.
It's an interesting sound at the beginning of Organ Grinder. The guitars.
Yeah, just like that droning.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah. Makes me think of some stuff that like Converge does every now and again. That's just like a track opening with like a bow on a guitar, rather
Yeah.
than a pick or
Right.
something like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. This is a good album, man. I really like this one. Like I said, this is my favorite. So
is
this is
the
definitely the one I go to if I'm like, hey man, I feel like some every time I die, I'm going to this album first, probably.
on the deluxe version of this album, did they throw Buffalo Gal or no? Okay, this is Buffalo 666.
666.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I remember that track now.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, both the
Again,
bonus
this
tracks on this one are both really good.
what's the other one? I forget.
Goddamn kids these days.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep. This album was met with high praise, man. So they did it. Gutter Phenomenon was a good start. Big Dirty took it even higher, and they were able to match Big Dirty with New Junk aesthetics. We are on the rise here, people. We're on the steady
They
rise.
sold it sold it didn't sell anything too crazy, but it sold like 12,000 copies in the first week.
Hey, that's still good though, man.
Yeah.
That's still good.
So it came out 46 on the US Billboard 200 like at its release.
Right. Yeah, it's I would say like among people, I think. Would you agree that it's probably their most popular album among fans for
New
like if you're
Junk?
looking at their whole discography, yeah.
Mm,
Or
I
do
don't
you
know.
think Radical takes it?
Most people that I know that were into Every Time I Die were into them like earlier. So I think,
Gutter Phenom probably.
yeah, I think Gutter Phenomenon and
Okay.
Big Dirty hold like kind of the biggest place. I think
Okay.
a lot of those people who liked them then might not even have listened to those last few albums.
Right. That's true.
So,
Well, like I said, Michael Novak, the founding member, would be leaving the band just about a month before this album would be released. So
get the fuck out of here, Novak. Get out.
he is featured on the album in the drum spot, but apparently Novak left because of personal conflicts and said that he was getting himself out of an uncomfortable and unhealthy situation. The band responded with, quote, "For the past year, it just felt like we were playing with a drum machine or a pre-recorded backing track. He completely shut off communication with us. He simply was not a part of us anymore, mentally or emotionally," end quote. And he will actually be referenced in the last song on this next album of X Lives. The song Indian Giver is actually about Novak leaving the band, kind of going distant and such.
Brutal. That's cold. That is some cold
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Wait, the song or him doing what he did?
The song, I mean, not that it's not justified, but that's always like a huge slam to me. Like that's something that always makes me like kind of bite my lip, just like
Well, and it's
whenever
kind of like
somebody writes a song that's like deliberately about like exactly who it's about. And yeah, I don't know, like it cuts like a lot harder. It makes it a lot more tension.
right. Well, and then like the bad thing too is like, I mean, what would happen if like, 10 years later, 2022, Novak, he's a different person. He comes back and he apologizes for how he was, and he doesn't want to be that person anymore. He wants to be close to, the guys now, and not so much maybe being in the band, but just like being friends with them. Well, you can't really do that now because again, you have this song that's out there that's like, oh, I mean, I heard that song, bro. And I
Yeah.
didn't appreciate it. I mean, I get it. And like you said, it's
Yeah.
justified, but that just kind of puts more of a stake between, the two parties.
Well, it's like also don't on Every Time I Die side of things, like don't join a band if you don't want to do like your part in it,
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, you're talking about at this point too, that's, 09 when he left. They've been around since what, 98. So, I mean, you're talking about 10 years in a band
Yeah.
because he was there from the beginning.
Well, just be like, I want out.
Right.
I mean, the only way the
Yeah.
band
I mean,
dynamic can work for that long is if everybody's communicating properly.
Right. Yeah. I don't agree with the way he went about it of just like, just kind of slowly slipping out and
Yeah.
not saying anything. And then just like, all of a sudden you're trying to call him and text him and you don't get anything, but I don't know. But I will say this too. Novak was a good drummer, but Ryan Legs Legger, dude, goes so hard on the drums. He honestly, dude, may be my favorite drummer in Every Time I Die.
He's only with them this album though, right? For X
No,
Lives.
he's on From Parts Unknown also. So he's on two
I
albums.
thought I thought Parts Unknown was Daniel Davidson.
Nope, Daniel Davidson is on Low Teens, and he's actually
Mhm.
on the Salem EP that comes out right after From Parts Unknown.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I know that one.
he's not on From Parts Unknown.
Who does drums on Radical?
Radical, that's Holyoke from Norma Jean. That wasn't
Oh,
Norma
okay,
Jean.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, let's not get too far ahead here. We're throwing too many album names out there, man. Let's take a look at. Oh, if I wasn't implied, Ryan Legs Legger replacing Michael Novak on drums.
The
Don't know if that was
Legs. What other
don't
bands
really
has he
know
been
if that
in?
was well, at one point we didn't mention this in the Norma Jean episode, but he did play with them for a little bit just in like a touring purposes. But I can look up real quick here.
I was about to say
Little
touring does me
bands.
no good because I'm not,
No, but I'm just saying, just like along the lines, like, hey, this guy was I didn't realize that,
yeah. It just doesn't give you anything to look
Oh
to
yeah.
be like, oh yeah, that's him, his drumming.
Right. Let's see. It says Every Time I Die, some band called Rise of the North Star. I don't know what that is. He's in that side project with Corey Brandon called 100 Sons. It's
Okay.
like just like three guys in that band. Doesn't look like there's much else though.
Hmm.
I don't know. But he goes so hard on drums, dude, especially this album. Feel like. But yeah, it's going to be the first album with Ryan Legs Legger on drums, and it will be the last album with Josh Newton on bass. Songs include Underwater Bimbos from Outer Space. Beautiful, beautiful title to start the album. There's also Holy Book of Dilemma, Typical Miracle, I Suck, Blood. Partying is Such Sweet Sorrow. The Low Road Has No Exits. Revival Mode featuring John Christ of X Danzig on guitar, no vocal, but only on guitar. Why are you laughing at that one?
just the just the Danzig.
Oh, okay. And the final song, Indian Giver. I definitely think Indian Giver is probably my favorite song on this album, to be honest.
You forgot track 3, A
What's
Wild
track 3?
Shameless Plane.
Oh, yeah. Did I forget any others?
I mean, well,
You could
no,
probably
just the
say all of
3.
them.
Just the 3 on the bonus edition. Grudge
Oh,
Music,
the ones.
Business, Casualty, and Starving Artist, Cover Your Trash.
Oh, I haven't heard those 3 before. I don't have the deluxe version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the thing about Every Time I Die. They almost always do a deluxe version, and there's usually 2 or 3 tracks on
Extra
there.
tracks. Yeah. We think about X Lives, Josh, 2012 from Epitaph Records.
I really enjoyed X Lives when it came out. It's a little bit different than Big Dirty and New
Big
Junk,
Dirty,
but
yep.
it's
a
got
new
its own
chapter.
sound. Yeah.
It's a new chapter. We're definitely turning the page and kind of going. I don't want to say going in a different direction, but yeah, we're definitely closing the book on the last chapter, which had to be Gutter Phenom, Big Dirty, and New Junk.
Yeah. Starts off good. First 3 tracks are some of my favorites on the album. Parting is Such Sweet Sorrow, Revival Mode, and I don't know. I think Indian Giver might be my favorite track on the album.
It's a really good track to finish, man.
Yeah,
Just really good. I don't know what it is, man. It just really lures you in. But I have to give Underwater Bimbos from Outer Space my favorite title on the track. It's like, what the heck is going on there, man? Who are these bimbos? And how did they get underwater from outer space?
Yeah, questions that need
Yes.
answer.
There's so many questions, man, that need answering. This album again was met with high praise. Josh Newton again will be leaving after this album ended, and a former member, Stephen Michichi, that guy, Stephen, hey, Stephen, will be returning on bass. He would finish out the remainder of the band's existence on bass. Takes us, Josh, into 2014's From Parts Unknown from Epitaph Records.
I gotta go back for a second.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just fine. I was trying to think of this one line from Indian Giver, but like the whole song just goes so hard. But it's after what I guess you would call the chorus of this song. It's kind of a weird chorus, but
yeah.
Kind of like just that little interlude between the verses. But where it picks up again is no organs to be salvaged, no teeth to be compared. We asked for no police involvement because you knew you weren't there. We threw a birthday party, and at the table in your chair, a lightness.
Yeah, he's got some interesting lyrics. There's
what starts with that first line is no broken-hearted people.
Right. Yeah.
Like, we're not sad about this, dude.
Let's just get this straight. Let me just go ahead and start this off by saying we're not sad. Yeah. No, Keith Buckley is like probably the only vocalist of like bands that I like that I've listened to that like he'll say a line from a song or whatever, or be a lyric from a song or whatever, and I'm just like I laugh at it like out loud. Like what was the one I was thinking? There's one on Big Dirty. We were just listening to it the other day. It was said, "I'm no good at court order goodbyes." I don't know why that one just kind of makes me laugh. And then the one from, I think it's Organ Grinder, on New Junk Aesthetic, when he said something about Big Brother is watching us with snipers on the roof or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's snipers on the roof. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, but just like stuff like that, just like, I don't know why, but it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Anything else on X Lives before we move on to From Parts Unknown?
No, I like the album art for this one too. Kind of different for them.
Yeah, it definitely took a different turn with the artwork there.
Yeah, I like it though.
No, yeah, it's good. I don't really know if there's is there a bad album artwork?
No, I mean, I don't really care for the one from Parts Unknown.
It's a little different. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But then again, From Parts Unknown is kind of weird. Let's get weird, man. 2014's From Parts Unknown from Epitaph Records. This will be the last album with Ryan Legs Legger. And this album would have... The Leg Man. This album would have producer Kurt Ballou. He was from Converge, the guitarist. Mm-hmm. You know of this man.
Yeah.
Tell us of this man.
I mean, I think after, or even maybe while he was still in Converge, he might still be in Converge.
I think he still is.
I knew he started doing like producing and recording albums and stuff.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, dude's just got a lot of knowledge. Like, he's been around a long time.
Right. Well, being huge fans of Converge, Jordan Buckley stated that the band Every Time I Die would not exist if not for Converge. So obviously they're a big influence on the band. The band took this approach when working with a producer. We, quote, went into recording thinking, let's not pretend to be too cool. We can learn so much from this guy, end quote. Keith Buckley stated about this album, working with the producer, quote, stressful.
Hot damn hellfire. I ate my hat.
Yeah, there you go. Quote, stressful in the best way. Like when your dad comes to watch you play baseball for the first time and you just want to make him proud, end quote. So see, my quote was even better.
We just want to make Kurt Ballou proud.
You're my dad.
Hey, knowing that,
Can we
knowing
go
that
play catch?
knowing that this album, like I can definitely feel it. Like this
Yeah.
feels as fast,
It's
as hard hitting as any Converge album.
right. And it gets dark. It's kind of a darker album too than what, previous albums, and even I think even after albums afterwards.
Yeah.
In the ETID discography. Fun fact for you, Josh, did you know that Keith Buckley contracted laryngitis during the recording process, leading him to record all his vocals in one session?
I did not know that.
Man, that sucks.
That's pretty brutal, yeah. But he sounds great,
it's
like on the
pretty
whole
brutal.
album.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, this album would be darker than any other albums. And songs on this album include The Great Secret,
Woo!
Decaying with the Boys, If There's Room to Move, Things Move.
Pelican of the Desert, Overstay.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know what you think about this song, though, Josh. What do you think about More? More.
I like More.
Interesting.
Yeah,
It's one of those. The part. I'm not saying I don't like it. I don't like the fact that it gets stuck in my mind. The very beginning part with the piano and just him singing, it gets stuck in my mind to where it's like annoying.
It's super repetitive. It's just that one little line over and over.
Yeah.
Dun
Dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun.
dun dun dum 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 dum.
Dumb.
Yeah, but it picks up like so hard, like towards the end.
Oh,
there,
yeah.
where like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
everything
good,
comes
yeah.
in, the guitars and
Right.
drums and everything.
Yeah. There's also Exometrium, Thirst, Old Light featuring Brian Fallon of the Gaslight Anthem. Woo, Gaslight Anthem. El Dorado and Idiot.
And all structures are unstable.
Sure. I just pick a few songs here and there. I'm not trying to say
Okay,
every
I thought
song
you
on
were
the
going
album.
through the entire track list.
No,
Well,
I
fuck,
usually
you
just
missed
try to
like
pick.
four
I
that
don't
time.
want to. I don't want to be like, all right, here we go. I'm going to name every single song. I don't know. I just feel like that's why I want to leave something for them to be like, oh, I thought he was saying every song. There's more songs on here.
God.
I wonder what this song is. I don't want to spoon feed everybody everything.
Cut it off before we start talking about the bonus tracks, and then you'll have the bonus tracks.
Oh my good. Yeah. And see, there's that too. Because like we were saying on the last album, they usually have like 2 or 3 bonus tracks on every album, it seems like. So
This was a tough one for me
good.
to call my least favorite album.
This album is your least favorite, really? Okay.
Somebody's got to lose, The only
yeah.
thing that might go like, I don't know. I was gonna say it might fall behind like Burial Plot, Bidding War, or Last Night in Town, but
well, let me ask you this.
I love those two albums.
You're saying somebody's got to be last. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming you're making this one last, right? Is what you're
Mhm.
saying. But would you say you're putting it in last as in this? I don't want to say this album sucks, but like is it a bad last place, or is it a, like you said, somebody's got to be last place, but it's a good album. It's just like somebody's got to be last. Okay.
Oh yeah, I don't think they
Okay.
have a bad album. I don't think.
I just want to make sure that's
yeah.
what you were saying. Okay.
Yeah, no, I like them all. I just somebody has to
Okay.
be at the end
Okay.
of the
I know I
line.
can-
Yeah,
I know
can't
I
be
kinda
like they're
circled
all
back to
tied
your
for
original
number
thought.
one.
Right. They're all number one. Yeah. That perfect band does not exist.
Yeah. And like that being said, this album has, I think it might be tied right there with No Son of Mine for me for like best opening track on one of their albums.
Ooh. What about Roman Holiday, man?
Roman Holiday is good, but that one doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't
No,
completely.
you're good.
do
I
it
just
for
wondered.
me,
Yeah. Okay.
No Son of Mine, like that riff that opens it, the like that's
Yeah.
and
Okay.
then Great Secret goes really hard too.
Yeah.
So
They
they have a lot of good
Face
opening
melter.
tracks, but again, like somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose.
Right.
So
yeah. Well, even like again, going back to the last album, Underwater Bimbos from Outer Space. That's a great opening
Yeah.
track too. So
I want to be dead with my friends.
yeah. Which for some reason in my mind I was thinking that was an earlier album, but I don't. know why. Anyway, yeah, 2014's Parts Unknown from Epitaph Records was met with high praise. Again, this is going to be the last album to feature Ryan the Legs Legger on drums. If you're gonna have
Numbers
if
wise,
you're gonna have a nickname like that, though, bro, you can't have like chicken legs, right?
yeah, they got to be
It's gonna be like the best feature on him. He's got like
some big
massive
old meat
calves
sticks. Yeah.
and right. What were you gonna say?
Um, so just looking at like each album and like kind of where they debut on the same Billboard chart and how many copies are sold, they'd like gone up in X Lives from New Junk.
It's an
They've gone,
expectation, though, wouldn't you think? I mean, you kind of when you're looking at a chart like that and it keeps getting better and better, like every
Well, I'm
album. I feel
saying-
like that has to do with like the last album too, because people are like, "Oh, this could be another great album," you know?
yeah, well, and not necessarily the chart, but the amount of copies that were sold in the first week.
Well, but
And
I think that
so-
even kind of goes with it too, though.
Yeah, it was 12,000 for New Junk. It was like 13.5, I think, for X Lives,
X Lives.
and then back down to 12,000 the first week for this album.
It's interesting.
But I think we talked about that, the difference between, you know, Big Dirty and New Junk kind of fall into this little bracket together of kind of a similar sound. And then X Lives is the start of something new. Like X
Right.
Lives is what spawns Parts Unknown and Low Teens,
Teens
and Radical, you know? So yeah, they're two different
final
albums.
chapter.
So I think
Yeah.
people who might have been more drawn to New Junk might not have stuck around, you know, for X Lives, or might have listened to X Lives and been like, and didn't buy the album, you know?
Right.
So
Well, bye Ryan Legger.
get the fuck
Had a
out
good-
of here, Legs.
Yeah.
Make
You had
room
it.
for a real boss here.
Yeah, man. You had a good 2-album run.
He's a good drummer, and I like him on
and from
those
Parts
albums.
Unknown.
But Daniel Davidson is like, he's another tier. He's another tier of drummer, you know?
Yeah. When I was saying all that about Ryan and the last 2 albums, in my mind, all I could hear was, I will remember you.
Oh God.
It's like, oh God, man. This is like I just hear like that playing in the background as I'm saying, hey, you had a good run in X Lives and from Parts Unknown.
He's just like
we,
waving on the way
we
out
thank
the
you for
door.
your service. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I
But
do
yeah,
want to
man.
ask you. I want to ask you.
Well, hold on a
before we
second.
move on, though.
Make way. Just going off your point. Make way, Ryan, for the almighty Daniel Davison, formerly of Norma Jean and formerly of Under Oath. Yes, Josh.
And formerly of the best albums by those bands,
Oh, easily, yeah.
like drum wise, you know.
Right. Well, I don't know about Under Oath, but yeah.
Oh God, dude, that him.
We'll talk
like
about
that,
it. We're gonna get to Under Oath.
Okay,
man.
all
We're gonna
right, we'll
to
get
Under
there.
Oath.
We'll get there.
Save your debate.
I did want to see what your favorite tracks off this album was. Like mine are Great Secret, Decaying with the Boys, and Overstayer, like those two together. More really hits for me, Thirst, and then El Dorado. I really like El Dorado.
Yeah, I love Great Secret. I know when I was saying about More may have sounded different from what I'm about to say, but I do like More. It's just that very beginning piano part really gets stuck in my head and it gets like to the point where it's annoying to me. I love Decaying with the Boys. My favorite song on the album is Exometrium, dude. Peeling off that leather.
Yeah. Well, and I saw
and
that
digging out that heart, man.
peel off the leather and dig out the heart.
Well, then, hey, and then the part where he says in the verse talking about he said something about I fell off my horse right in front of you or something like that. I don't know why. That's another one that kind of made me laugh out loud. But Thirst is a good one too, and El Dorado is a good one. I like Old Light, but then at the same time, there's kind of like this. I don't know. I just almost feel like Brian Fallon didn't fit that song the way his vocal style is.
Yeah.
It almost just didn't fit it. I love Brian Fallon. And I love the Gaslight Anthem. That's one of my favorite bands, but it just, I don't know. That's kind of one of those ones that like, it just didn't fit to me.
Well, with that many guest appearances, one or two of them are bound not to hit.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
What
did
were you
see
going to say?
something. Well, I saw something that Keith had said about how, the album's named from Parts Unknown, because it's a mystique type thing that like a lot of wrestlers use, like from
Right.
Parts Unknown.
Yeah.
And that kind of applied to like the creepiness, and kind of
Right.
darkness of the beginning of the
Yes.
album. But
Mhm.
naturally, it just took like kind of a lighter turn that he didn't really see coming towards the end of the album. And
Right.
I think if you listen to El Dorado and then go listen to some of the first couple tracks from Low Teens, which is like, the very next one, um, how similar they sound and how it sounds like such a clean transition from the end of this album into the beginning of Low Teens. And
Right.
yeah, it just sounds like, I don't know. I would just say listen to that, like listen to El Dorado and then go listen to like Two Summers, and you'll be like, oh, these are like almost the same song. Like it's it feels like it could be like a
Connection.
part
Yeah.
two of it or something. Yeah.
Yeah. El Dorado
So
Part 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yes. All right. That was 2014 from Parts Unknown. But wait, we're not done with it just yet. What's this? 2015, there's a Salem EP from Epitaph Records. Now,
Hmm.
I don't know what you know, Josh, about this, but because I couldn't like really confirm or not, does this album or this EP have Ryan Legger on drums, or does it have Daniel Davison on drums?
Uh,
Because I
when
think these are like unreleased songs from Parts Unknown.
yeah, so it's
I
probably
would assume
Legs
it's Ryan,
then.
right? That's what I
Yeah.
assume, but I wasn't for sure because he left pretty quick, and Daniel came in before they released this EP. So I didn't know maybe if they re-recorded these unreleased tracks with Daniel on drums, or if they just said, "Hey, screw it, we're just
Mm,
gonna release them."
I don't think so. I think they just released what they had.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think
Well,
I don't think they re-recorded.
this album, this EP was released on Record Store Day in celebration of that. Like I said, it has unreleased songs from the album from Parts Unknown, except for
I'm gonna
one of
say
them. There's 4 songs.
it's kind of a ripoff. Cheap Ludes and Saturnalia are both the
Already
bonus
on there.
tracks on
Yeah,
from Parts Unknown. So all you
right.
get are Tourette's and A Strange Loop. They're both good songs. I really like
Well, and
Tourette's,
then
but
yeah, but you know what? Tourette's is not theirs, right? It's a cover song. It's a
who's the
Nirvana
cover
cover
of?
song.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, that's a great song. Every Time I Die wrote.
No, I
Dang.
do remember that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
being a cover.
But the other song that you did not mention, which was a original from Every Time I Die, is a song called Strange Loop. That is 2015 Salem EP from Epitaph Records, Josh. 2015 lineup here. We got Keith Buckley on vocals, Jordan Buckley on guitar, Andy Williams on guitar, Stephen Machichi
My
on
Chi.
bass. He's got a different name every time I say his name, I'm pretty sure. So one of those names, hopefully I hit correctly. He's on bass, and then like, once again the great Daniel Davison on drums. Josh, do you have anything else to say before we wrap this episode up? We got 2 more albums, but I'm saving those for the last part.
No, I don't think so. I mean,
No final thoughts on From Parts Unknown, X Lives, New Junk Aesthetic, and Big Dirty.
uh, it's just, I mean, those are like the golden years of the band. We've still got 2 really good albums to go through, but really capturing like that super southern sound I know that we both really like too is
Yep.
it's in those albums there. So
Right. Yep. Well, all right. That is going to do it for this episode, Every Time I Die, Part 2. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings, not just on the show, but our other shows too. Josh, would you like to talk? Okay, well, I guess you're not going to be able to talk. Let me tell you about our 2 other shows here.
Oh, I can tell you about those other
Okay,
shows.
now he's back. Go ahead and tell us about those other 2 shows that we have, Josh.
RRHP, which is the Red Right Hand podcast, the show where we went back and we rewatched every episode of 6 seasons worth of the Peaky Blinders. There's a lot of heavy discussion in there on the time period and just the show in general that is friendly to rewatchers and pretty spoiler free for the most part, for first time watchers. And then our other show is ongoing right now, the Throne of the Dragon podcast, where we cover each and every episode of HBO's House of the Dragon to see who will win, the Greens or the Blacks. And every week we break down the episode and just go over kind of where we feel like the season's headed. We are about to cover the penultimate episode of the season, the Green Council. So make sure you guys go over there and check out that episode coming up here pretty quick.
And while you're on Twitter, make sure to follow this guy over here, my co-host, at Joshua Lynn Gary on Twitter. While you're at it too, make sure to leave us a 5-star review and write us a comment on whatever podcast service you're using. And if you want to listen to us and see our smiling faces, head over to our YouTube page. Just search Is Survived by Productions, and that'll have every episode from all of our shows, the Red Right Hand podcast, Throne of the Dragon podcast, and this podcast right here, History of the Course podcast. While you're over there too, subscribe to the channel and thumbs up the video. If you also want an easier way, just find everything, our Twitter, our YouTube, everything like that, any Apple Podcast, Spotify podcast for our production show, just go to Google, man. It's easy. Type in Is Survived by Productions on Google, Yahoo, Bing, DuckDuckGo, whatever search engine you are using. Just type in Is Survived by Productions, and it's going to bring up everything that we have, our Twitter, our YouTube.
And you use Yahoo or Bing?
For the psychopath in you. But yeah, just type that in.
If you're using Yahoo or Bing, don't look us up. Turn this podcast off right now.
Okay, anyway, so just go type in Is Survived by Productions on that search engine. It'll pull everything up. Your one-stop shop for everything is Survived by Productions. And
it sounds like there's a lot of ways to find us. Sounds like it's
like if you can't find us, that's on you. You just don't know how to use a computer. You didn't even try. You gave up after the first one. But last and certainly not least, I want to say, if you have a band from the core genre that you want us to discuss, leave us a comment on any of these services with the band name you want to hear, and we'll consider it. Not saying we're going to do it, but we'll consider it.
We'll consider it. We'll think about it.
We'll consider it. We'll throw it into a hat. Maybe we'll draw it out. Who knows? But anyway, that's going to do it. We will see you in the next episode for the final, thank God, the final episode of Every Time I Die, Part 3.
It's time to move on. It's time to move on.
It's time to talk about some other bands. Yeah. Alrighty. We'll see you next time.
See you.